best practices for creating online learning modules. So we've been increasingly using independent learning modules, and usually these are modules in Canvas, as a way of helping students work through material. And what I'm going to talk about in this teaching tip are some ideas from Quality Matters, which is an international organization that provides training and quality assurance about virtual teaching and learning. And some of this is from me, based on my experience in having run a fair number of online courses. These are for creating individual modules, not for creating a completely online course. And if you're interested in transforming your course to a completely online course, I'd be very happy to work with you on that. There is a module in the CVM Instructor Development course if you want to learn things yourself, and you can contact me. There's my email address to help you access those modules if you want. So step number one, you're going to create this online module for independent learning. So first thing is to consider, why do you want to do it that way? Is this the only way they're going to get that content? Is it set up for them because they need to look at this material before they go to a required in-person session for active learning, for a laboratory? And are there going to be other things associated with it? So are they going to complete things that let you know that they accessed this material and really thought about it? Do they have to do a study guide? Are they going to take a quiz? Do they have to do some kind of assignment? Think about all that first as you think about creating this online module. If there will be associated work, or if there will be a course, if this is going to be before a laboratory, for example, a great thing to do is to create a read this first document that tells students exactly what they need to know. Here is this module. You have to complete it by this date at this time so you can attend the laboratory on this date at this time. There will be a quiz when you walk in the door of the laboratory that will review and make sure you read this information or whatever. So that makes the students think hard about how they want to sequence their learning and gives them some idea of why they are learning it, which helps their motivation as they work through the material. Step number two is make sure the learning objectives to the module are clear and that all of the things that happen in that module are aligned to the learning objectives. So if the learning objectives are about performing something, then there has to be some sort of follow-up of a way for them to be able to demonstrate that they can perform it. Things of that nature. Step number three, think about how you're going to present the material. And so very often people will give a video, sometimes a captured lecture, either from this year or a previous year, or they will give a set of course notes. They'll give one way for students to access the material. And that's a fine way to start. Ideally, you would give them more than one way to access the material. And that gets at that idea of universal design, where you're thinking about how do I present this material in ways that gives everyone a great chance to get at the information. And this can be something as simple as making sure they have the lecture and they also have the PowerPoint that you used as part of that lecture. Giving them different ways of being able to access and work through the material is beneficial. Step number four, because they're going to be doing this independently, you want to give them extremely clear instructions, like almost in your mind, absurdly clear instructions. But you're not going to be around when they're working on this because they might be working on it late at night or on a weekend or sometime when you're not available to them. So tell them what they need to do. If you've given them course notes and a video, do they have to read the notes and watch the video, or can they do one or the other? Tell them what they need to look at of the stuff that you've provided for them. Make sure it's very clear to them if there is associated work or a laboratory coming up or something like that, and that they know the sequencing. You need to complete this before you do that. And if they need to submit something like a quiz or a study guide, make sure it's very clear how they do it. You're going to submit it through Canvas. The tab is called this. It's in the assignment section and it's due on this date, that sort of thing. And then make sure you do provide them with some contact information about who they contact if something is locked or a link doesn't work. If it's a technology problem, who do they contact? And who they contact if they're really confused about the content. That when I read this sentence, it tells me this, but when I read the following sentence, it seems to contradict that. Who do I contact to talk to about that? And then work with an instructional technologist to get the whole thing set up in Canvas. And this is a really valuable thing because that instructional technologist can help you think it through. I want them to do this before they do that. I don't want this to open until they've done that. They can set those things up for you in Canvas. I want to have questions inside a video. They can help you set that up. I want to have a quiz as part of this. They can help set that quiz up for you. And here showing you on the screen are the people who can help you in the various places, depending on where you're working and what the course is for, either through your department or centrally. These are instructional technologists that can really do a good job of helping you use Canvas well to meet your goals as a teacher for this independent learning module. Once they tell you it's done, the module is ready to go, it is your responsibility to read through the whole thing. Test every single link and make sure things open the way you expect. Open every video and make sure it plays. Open every audio file and make sure it plays. Open every document and make sure you can read all of them. And that is a valuable thing to do one time through, because then when the student contacts you and says, I can't get this to open, you know that you were able to get it to open. And that changes how you counsel that student with problems that they're having technologically. So again, take the time to really go through the whole module yourself and make sure the whole thing works the way you expect. And then finally, once you're done, ask for student feedback, because the students are the ones who are living through this. And even though things may seem super obvious to you, there's stuff that it's obvious because it's in your head and it can't be in their head. And they do give you really good ideas of how to make things more obvious or flow more smoothly. So here's an example from non-traditional pets. This year I got these wonderful case studies that I was able to get done with the help of the Center for Educational Innovation, and I posted them all originally as number 1, number 2, number 3. And the first student who did one, I wrote back to her with her feedback and said, you're the first student who's done one of these in the new format. What do you think? And she said, it would really be great if it said on every one what species it was and what the problem was. So I didn't have to open them all up to see which ones I wanted to do. Of course, the most logical thing in the world, and it just never occurred to me and took me 2 seconds to do what she had asked and made things infinitely easier for the rest of the students. So really do seek that student feedback and use what they give you, because very often it's very good, very practical feedback. If you have any questions about this, or again, if you want help setting up things online, this is a way that I really enjoy teaching, and I'm very interested in helping you do this. So you can contact me. I'm Dr. Peggy Root, and I can be reached by email at rootk001@umn.edu.